Hi, it's duo Vis-À-Vis, Brandon and Craig Jordan here at the University of Miami. We just had our first performance last night of the Brahms and Rachmaninoff tour, which is our 5th tour. And over the next month and a half, we're going to be doing it 9 more times across the country, so please check out our website, duovisavs.com, to see where else we're performing. Today we thought we would make a video about how we started in music, and maybe who we studied with, and just talk about some other little things like that. And so I'll let Craig start.
My first interest in music began with my grandma because she had a piano at her house, and my uncle and my aunt and my family and I would always kind of mess around on the piano, and they would have their instruments there, parties for Christmas or whatever. And that was always interesting to me, so my grandma kind of helped me learn the beginner notes on the piano. And then when I started school, elementary school, I started taking lessons with our kind of choir director at the time, Colette Michelson. And then eventually moved on to Kayla Dare, who was also my 4th grade teacher. She had a piano in the classroom, and we would have lessons after school. And then after she moved to Denver, I started taking lessons with Jessica Conklin and Ames throughout my junior high years and middle school. And that was really when I kind of grew the most, I think, because I started going to festivals during the summer and realizing that I really enjoyed piano as kind of a career path. And then after she moved to Georgia, they all just kind of moved away from me. I started studying with Sue Hudson in Des Moines, and studied with her throughout high school and ended up going to Lawrence. I think throughout my childhood I always just kind of listened to the radio. I didn't listen to NPR that much unless I was with my grandma or my uncle. Growing up in a smaller community, classical music wasn't really a huge thing that anyone listened to, so I didn't really start listening to it until like my later high school years and now. But I really liked, there's some thunder. I really liked Chopin as a junior high student, and a high schooler. I loved the Nocturnes and I loved Debussy. So really much hasn't changed since then.
So I started the violin when I was a 4th grader, when I was 9, in the Burlington, Wisconsin public school system. I started under a teacher named Linda Oya, and everyone, when they ask me why I started the violin, I always tell them I did it because that's what the masses were doing. Everyone else I knew started either on violin or cello, and I thought having a smaller instrument was probably better for me than having a big one, so naturally I went towards the violin. And then it's funny because when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I actually used to skip orchestra class all the time, which was at the very end of the school day during our homeroom periods, and I would go to the art studios and work on my art projects. Because as many of you know probably that I'm also a visual artist. And so I just think that's really funny because then in the 7th and 8th grade I started getting really serious with the violin, and I started practicing a lot more and listening to a lot more music. And then in 8th grade I started formal training for the first time with a teacher in my school district named Becky Thompson. And then in 9th grade I started with Patricia Anders, who is the sister of the violinist Marilyn McDonald, who teaches violin and Baroque violin at the Oberlin Conservatory in Ohio. And so in high school, when I studied with Patricia Anders, I came in not knowing how to read music, because in the years prior that I studied, I got away somehow with playing completely by ear. And so I had the abilities to look at music and sort of figure my way through it just by listening to it and also seeing it on the page. So when it came to the logistics of reading music, I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I didn't really learn entirely until my sophomore year with her, when I was going to audition for the Milwaukee Youth Symphony. And it's funny because whenever I give recitals in Burlington and she comes to see us, um, she tells everyone, she's just like, he told me when I first came, or when he first came to me, that he didn't need to learn how to read music and that all he needed to do is watch YouTube videos so he can hear how everything goes and play it by ear.
Nothing's changed.
No, it did. When I was a kid, actually, I used to listen to a lot of country music, which is weird because once I got to high school, I started listening to a lot of pop music, and I haven't really gotten back into country ever since then. But I also listen to a lot of symphonic music. My sister and I used to listen to an album of symphonic Pink Floyd music all the time that our dad used to play in our car whenever we would drive places. And so I feel like that sort of introduced me to the sound of string instruments. I guess I really liked Mozart when I was in middle school, the sounds, because I thought the sound of classical music was almost defined by Mozart. And I loved Eine kleine Nachtmusik. That was probably one of my favorite pieces when I was in 6th grade and we took a music history class in school. And then in high school, I don't know, I don't think I had a favorite composer at that point in my life, but I really liked Tchaikovsky, I think, Rachmaninoff. That's when I started discovering the piano concertos. I had an obsession with playing orchestra music for a long time. I joined the Lake Geneva Symphony Orchestra when I was in 8th grade, and a member of their first violin section. So it was sort of a thing where I was playing with people who were a lot older than me, and had been doing this potentially their whole lives, and so that was a really good thing for me when I was very young to start.
I guess I also played cello in high school. I had cello lessons. So that kind of opened up a new realm of chamber music possibilities.
Yes, and I played a little bit of viola when I was in high school, just for a brief period of
How did you
time.
ever play viola?
I don't know why. I hated the viola for a really long time. Now it's the best instrument ever, so.